Hi, I'm Jim McLean. Almost every golfer wants to hit the ball further. Well, the #1 key to power and distance is speed. It's that simple. And with the swing speed, radar, and tempo timer, you'll be able to add distance and consistency to every club in your bag.
Easily took 5 strokes off my game.
I've shaved about 4 to 5 strokes off my game.
I've dropped my scores by 4 strokes.
Order your swing speed radar and tempo timer now, and you'll also get this bonus DVD featuring speed and tempo tips with Jim McLean. Get your swing speed radar and tempo timer today.
In this episode of Swing Analysis, we're going to take a good look at Freddie Couples. Freddie's a fellow Seattleite, didn't grow up far from me. He also went to the University of Houston after I went. So I have always followed Freddie Couples, a great guy, one of the most beautiful looking golf swings in the history of golf. One of the really super long hitters. I'm going to show you some of the things that Freddie does to gain power. This is a recent picture too of Freddie. When he was young, of course, he was the longest hitter, or one of the longest hitters on the PGA Tour, and he's still super long. So let's take a look at Freddie. I've drawn some red lines up here at address to show you lateral motion in the golf swing, to show you how the legs are moving. I also did a square around his head, and I'll even tighten that up a little bit. I'm going to put a line right through the center of Freddie's head. Because Freddie is one of the golfers that doesn't move his head much in the golf swing, but I want to show you that it does move some on a driver. Now, one interesting thing with Freddie is the amount of turnout that he's always had on his left foot. Now that really helps you rotate through. I'll stand up in a moment and go through a couple things with Freddie's swing. But let's just first take you through Freddie's early stages of his swing. So this is, I call it step 1, or the first building block is your takeaway, and it's a very one-piece takeaway. Also, we want to look at this grip with Couples. A lot of you would benefit from a stronger grip. Freddie has a super strong left-hand grip. You see it right there. Now let's watch again, first part of the takeaway, everything moving away in what we'd call a one-piece move. Freddie is very quiet with his body, all the way to, we call this the handback position, or step 2 in the golf swing. I'm going to put a little line right there on the end of the club. The club's pretty much pointing at the target. His right arm is above his left. This is part of what I look at in step 2, or also what we'd call the building block step to look at a swing. As we build your golf swing, we'll break it into sections. You see he's starting to get just a little bit of separation here offline, but not much. He's really braced into his right side. Hardly any movement at all with his right leg. Now we go up to step 3, that's 3/4 back. You see a lot of relaxation in Freddie. I mean, at this stage you see kind of soft looking arms. And now we get toward the top of his swing. Now, what's our bet on how far Freddie takes this club back? Is it going to get to parallel? Past parallel? Now we see a nice load, good separation. He's really gotten into his right side. He's stacked on the right side. He's got a little cup in the wrist. That's because or actually a lot of cup in his wrist because of the super strong grip. Oh, look at this. Quite a bit past parallel. Freddie used to take it longer than that. Phenomenal flexibility in this guy. Now as we look at Freddie at the top, we look at the X factor, which is the differential between your hip turn and your shoulder turn. Freddie has an unbelievably stable lower body without much rotation. There is some turn, but very little. But his shoulder turn is just massive. And that's sort of a gift obviously from Freddie Couples. He has big shoulders and he makes a huge shoulder turn. Now you can obviously kill the ball from here, which he does. You'll also notice that the head definitely moved without any question. When we take this back to address and then take him up to the top, we just focus on the head. Did the head move? Yes or no? Okay. So now we're going to watch this move coming down. And from the top, I wanted to show you something here as Freddie moves into the ball, because he has one of the biggest lateral moves in golf toward the target. So let's put a dot on his belt, and we're going to have to guess because he's got a sweater on. So I'm going to just guess that his belt is right about there. Does that look about right? Now, let's watch as he comes down to see how far that belt moves. Wow. You see this narrowing here? Or delay in those hands? Look where that golf club is and how far he's moved through the line. Massive. You think he's narrowed up a little bit here coming down? You think there's some stored energy there? So I'm thinking that before he hits the golf ball, that I'm getting his arms in the way, and let's be kind of fair here. We'll say I think his belt's probably right about there now. So he moved this far in a very short time, from here to there, before he hit the golf ball. You also notice, and this is something that all great drivers do, he's behind the golf ball. He's even more behind the ball than he was at address. Is his right heel off the green? Yes or no? A lot of people tell you have to have your heel on the ground. Now, this guy's played great golf for 40 consecutive years. Look at that release through. Another interesting thing about Freddie is he's up on his toes. His left heel's off the ground at impact. A lot of people would say you can't do that. Well, there's a lot of great players that do that. So I like to know what's really happening. Not some method that somebody's talking about. What are the great players doing? And that's what I'm trying to show you in this swing analysis, is there's so much BS out there about what you really have to do. That's what my building block approach is about, is to show you what's really happening. And I use top tour players to show you they're different. And I really try to define the things that have to be done to hit the ball good. What are the real fundamentals? Okay, so here Fred goes through, staying behind the ball with the driver is one. See, he's still off his heel right there. And now it comes back down. And then we go to this classic Freddie Couples finish. All right, one more thing is that narrowing of the golf swing. I remember I showed you his halfway back spot right here, right about there. Now when he comes down, is he going to be in that same spot, or is he going to narrow? Now this happens to be one of my fundamentals in the 8-step swing, is the narrowing. So you can see how much closer he is coming down. He would be probably in this area right here on the downswing, or even inside that. Bam, and through to the finish. So out, in. That's a fundamental. That's something that all great players do. I don't know if anybody makes a golf swing look easier when you play it, the swing. So I will go back here and just play this swing a couple times for you. So I just like to play the swing a couple times so you see the beauty and the grace of Freddie Couples. All right, let's talk about some of the things Freddie does as it relates to you, to your game. Well, one of the things that I've always been interested in watching Fred was how relaxed he is, his movements before he hits a golf ball. Very relaxed. Looks like he's almost going to go to sleep out on the golf course. So he's the opposite of tense and tight. I would say the other thing with Fred is he's kept a very relaxed backswing. He has a great start right there going back. And then up at the top, he lets that club really get back. So again, if you're trying to get a longer backswing, you've got to relax your body and especially your wrists. And that's one of the ways, because Freddie doesn't hardly move his hips at all. he just goes back here and kind of lifts the arm, or both arms, up to the top, and then lets the wrist hinge. And he's got a big cup there at the top, so the wrist is really cocking. That really provides a tremendous amount of power in your swing. So I've used a lot of things to show that hammering idea and how much speed that adds to your swing. Now Fred's starting with the very strong grip, so it's got a lot of cup in it to begin with. When he takes it up to the top, it's going to be more cup than normal. So that's one reason you see a lot of cupping in Freddie's swing, or anybody with a really strong grip. Lastly, the last thing I wanted to mention with Fred's swing is from the top of his swing as he starts down is that lateral move that he makes. It's a gigantic move. Him and John Daly had the biggest lateral movements that we've studied through all the years. Carl Welty and I have done a tremendous amount of work, plus all of my staff. We do a lot of analysis, a lot of work, and that's how I formulated the building block approach. So through these steps, we know the parameters or the safety zones, or who moves the most over and who moves the least. So then we've got a little area there to judge what you should be doing in your swing. Are you within these zones? Yes or no. If you're not, then we're going to work on it. So remember, Freddie's moved over to the golf ball. He is really pulling up out of the ground. Very strong move into impact. That's one of the reasons he hits the ball so far.